Hi, I'm Kurt Loder, and this is MTV News Raw. This is the MTV News edit room where we generally come with tapes of our celebrity No, not celebrity. Okay, but I'll just keep going because you'll cut it all together. Hi, I'm Kurt Loder, and this is MTV News Raw. Right here, now. Hi, I'm Kurt Loder. Welcome to MTV News Raw. This is the MTV News edit room where we generally come with our tapes of musician interviews, and we pull off one or two or three, hopefully juicy sound bites, leaving all the rest of the interview to molder away on the reels unheard. With this show, that's now changing. You get to hear it all. Our first subject is one of the big breakout acts of the past year, Sheryl Crow, whom we first talked to about a year ago on her big pink tour bus.
I'm Sheryl Crow, and I'm going to be your host today. I'll be acting as Carol Merrill as we take a tour of my little pink spread here. Let's just take a look at the front, shall we? Let's start with Bernie up here, who is the driver. He's accompanied here by the navigator, who's Scout, and his wife Sarah. And Sarah's visiting us right now, but Scout actually is always the navigator. So I just want you to know that this is Scout. He is how we get to where we're going. This guy right here. Jenny, Tad's friend. Just going right through the top. Oh, sorry. This is Gary Busey right here, actually. Who's about to, oh wow, on a real sugar cube. Actually, no, that's Wayne Isaac, who's the only reason that I live. He's at my record label. Max, who you know, who's with MTV.
Matt, actually.
Matt! I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Already I've dissed him. Okay,
Bummer.
come back. Maylin, my manager Scooter. This is my bass player Tad.
Hello.
Who goes by Shassandra on occasion.
Shassandra, to use.
Open those windows.
Oh, you better open the windows back there. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where we all get our beauty rest. Dun-da-da. This one down here is mine. As you can see, you have the necessary tools. Leather hat, Pumas, and a curling iron, of course. And other things that we don't have to really get into, do we? This is how we started, actually. Van and a U-Haul. Sitting straight up for 9 hours, smoking in a van. It was just...
Good for your posture, though.
It's a little too real, actually. And phone calls from truck stops. Actually, well, you can tell your truck stop story if you want.
Yes. When you go to the bathroom, make sure you're very quick and keep an eye on the bus whilst going to the bathroom, because what happened to me is I chased my bus down the highway and could not catch up. There I was in between Los Angeles and San Francisco looking for a ride. Always let your bus driver know where you are at all times.
That was during the Letterman thing. That was funny. Funny then. Anyway. Yark. Anything else we need to share with these?
Home videos back there.
Home videos? We don't. You know what, actually, we were in Amsterdam, and I carry a video camera with me all the time. We were in Amsterdam, and our bus got ripped off, which had so much footage on it from, well, some from this, but much of my old stuff, so we don't really have anything, do we?
No, we have one on the way, though.
Oh, yeah.
Tour. It should be here tomorrow or the next day.
We have the new Run Baby Run video, but not for the viewing audience.
Did you like the way
Guys, have yourself a cocktail.
Did I like what?
Did you like the way Run Baby runs right now?
Yeah,
Was that Anton Corbin?
it was David Hogan who did Leaving Las Vegas, who's hysterical, mad scientist. He's so brilliant. And he took part of a video that I had shot early, I don't know, maybe back in August for Run Baby Run. And they didn't release it as a single, and the video was not, I wasn't very happy with it. Hated the way I looked, was really uncomfortable. It was the first video I ever shot, and I just swear, it was so uncomfortable. So he came back and he shot the band, and he used some of the first footage, and it obviously looks like now we know what we're doing. Not that we didn't then, but honestly, we didn't know what we were doing, so anyway.
Whenever we have a conflict, we clear the floor out, the two people lie down on the floor, this folds
Indian
up,
leg.
the chairs come up, and we get into a heavy Indian leg wrestle, and whoever turns over the man, it's decided.
I usually win.
Or woman, yes.
They let me win. No.
Well, she has rug burns to prove it.
Yeah, I learned that the other night after the Boston gig. We found out we had done, I'm one of those people that does not like to know what's on the charts, how many records, any of that stuff. And somebody came in and said, "You've moved up to whatever on the Billboard charts." So we played at 11:30, so we just got inebriated before the gig. By the time we got started out of Boston, I had already earned myself a rug burn on the bus and couldn't really even tell you how. So it's those old war wounds. Anyway.
You were trashed that night.
The night you were here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were.
Oh.
You couldn't tell?
I couldn't.
Oh, that's good. Well, I mean, at this point in my game, 2 or 3 beers and I'm no good. So I'm telling you, I didn't have to spend 2 years at McDonald's slinging burgers because I was working with Michael. So.
I worked with Michael Jackson before I waited a table.
Yeah, actually, it was a good experience.
Yeah.
I had barely been out of the state of Missouri, and within 6 months' time, I was in Japan, Australia, Europe for 5 months, all over the United States. It was really an incredible, life-changing experience. It was just the job description of it that everybody has trouble with, you know.
Right. I mean, well, it just doesn't seem like music that you do now, which is the kind of...
It wasn't music I ever did. I was a big fan of his when he was a little kid, obviously, but no, it was a, it was a job, and I was darn lucky to have it, really, because like I said, when I moved out to LA, I took my music around, and people didn't want to know about a female, and this is pre-Tracy Chapman, right? This is like 7 years ago, and it was a good opportunity for me, and I went for it, and it was 18 months, which is a very long time to be doing anything, and by the end of it, it was kind of a hairy experience,
Is that when you kind of went into your funk after that, or?
Yeah. So.
And I have to ask you this too, because I heard it on the radio the other day.
Oh no, that radio show that keeps haunting me. What did you hear?
I heard that you said that during a certain part of Michael's concert, you guys would take bets to see if you would get excited, or at which point he gets excited, or... Well, I mean, you know the story.
Yeah, I do know the story.
Did you tell it?
Well, this is like probably the meanest thing, but the guys in the band used to place bets on whether, he and I used to do the duet, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, right? And it was choreographed, we were sort of hip to hip, and they would place bets as to whether the guy got the Woody, and that was it. I mean, every night I would get a report back as to whether he had or he hadn't, and I mean, I'm even embarrassed to talk about it because it's one of those things that's like, this is a person I'm talking about here, but anyway.
Okay.
It's just it's a part of being a person, and it's the way the body works. It's a bodily function.
Well, that's very understanding.
It's a reaction.
Right.
My dog gets them. How's that? Come here. Come on. Good boy.
What was your worst backup gig ever?
Oh God, I will incriminate. Most of my gigs actually, I'll tell you what the most unrelatable gig is that I've ever had was Johnny Mathis, and that was like the very first recording session I ever had when I moved out to LA. I got called to sing backup on a Johnny Mathis record, so that definitely was unrelatable. And I've sung with people that I really didn't like. I'll tell you what I used to do on occasion, not even on occasion, but frequently. There was a producer that used to call me, and he would produce, famous producer, he would call me and he would have me sing like all the background vocals and sometimes even the lead vocals on people's albums that couldn't sing. Like the old Paula Abdul lawsuit or and I could actually bust, I mean, there are a couple of women that I have done that for that are very well known. Oh, I wouldn't even say. They're big MTV artists.
Well, it probably wouldn't shock any of us.
No, it wouldn't, but so those were the worst gigs, to be diplomatic.
So when you say you do the lead vocals, are you like beyond a guide track, like basically it's blended with...
Well, what they call them is, I've only done it twice, and quite honestly, I didn't do that much backup work. I only did it for a couple of years, and then I quit doing it because people started seeing me as a background singer, and but it's what they call doing a template. You lay down the guide vocal, they sing to it. If it turns out well, they raise the template. If not, then they like use a mixture of the two, or whatever. And generally, what they do is they ask you to sound like the artist. But but it's funny that I would get hired to sing the people who couldn't sing, and I would just go in and kind of sound like being a non-sort of, you know, a not perfect singer or whatever. But I've only done it on a couple of occasions, and it left such a bad taste in my mouth. But now I must tell you, I went to see Backbeat last night, and the Beatles actually did a lot of background work for people like Jim Sheridan. So I've really been sort of shirking this whole background singer thing because it's given me such a bad rap. But I mean, I look at people and I go, there are some respectable people that were background singers at times. You know? So, Corns? Do you like those?
On every toe, it's true. She's right. Every single toe has a chord.
Those are from my, I'm not even gonna get into it. Wearing really tiny high heels while I was touring as a backup singer.
That's what they're from?
Male artists always have very sexy background singers who wear tight black dresses and high heels.
And what's the move?
Oh, shall I get up and do it?
I
I'm gonna
want
get my
the
Mary Jane on
in
first.
the high heel Mary Jane, because there's a
Yeah.
special backup singer move that
There is.
I think.
You couldn't actually pay me enough money at this point to do that again.
You go back to being a teacher? Were you really a teacher?
I
You
was.
must
I
have
was
been the
a
sexiest
darn
teacher.
good teacher too. I
What
loved
grade?
it. I taught kindergarten through 6th.
Oh my God.
Kindergarten through 6th music, and I had an autistic and severely handicapped.
Really?
Which was so amazing because you see how music really works with a kid that's completely non-communicative, and they're totally black, and then put an instrument in front of them or play loud music or even rock and roll, and all of a sudden it's like there's some light in there. It's really amazing.
Oh,
it's very
that must have been
humbling.
Great.
All right, this is the background video.
Okay, the back.
Wow, these are tough. I feel like
They're very, but you know what?
Wicked
They're,
Witch of the.
but they're cute. But the toe's too long. But that shoe would be good for you, but with a smaller. Do you have that with a less long toe? But we need the spiked heel because that chunky heel. Well, it's sexy. For the backup singer, you need the.
Oh, they look great from the side.
Let me see in the mirror.
They're sexy, don't you think? Okay, background singer move.
Okay, it actually goes a little something like this.
And there's usually like 3 of you.
There.
I'm not good at that. Wait, how do you do that? And then.
How are we?
Ooh, wait.
There you go. You have to go doo-wah, doo-wah. What's a good one?
Oh, I got my arms working wrong.
I can't even think of
There's
one.
a reason
you know,
I'm not a back.
Don
okay.
Henley would kill me if I actually broke into all she wants to do is dance.
Crawford and Crow.
You received 5 Grammy nominations this year. We haven't talked to you since you were nominated. Are you excited, nervous? Do you care one way or the other?
I guess I care, but it's odd. I mean, there are really 2 factors. I've lived in LA for 8 years, and you're around it so much that I think it didn't have the impact on me that having been back home in Missouri it would have. And but the really beautiful thing about it is that it's such a big deal to people at home. My family is so excited about it, and my 82-year-old grandmother's coming out. She's been on an airplane.
Wow.
So the whole family's going. It's they're really excited about it, and that makes it nice. But we've been working so hard. I haven't really thought about it. So
Most importantly, do you have a date and a dress?
I have a date. I don't have a dress. What do you wear? What do you wear to something like that? Do you have to wear a ball gown
Get
or
all
something?
fancy, of course.
I'm sure I have like
How many
a jillion
choices do you have for
sequin
a
dresses in my
cotillion, you know, a hoop skirt? You should go with Scarlett O'Hara or something.
I should wear something so bombastic, because when I wore the shorts on MTV, I still have interviews with people going, so what was it you wore to the MTV Awards? So now as I'm shopping, I'm
Those
really
little
careful.
leather ones?
Yes.
I remember those.
Like they're leather shorts, that's what they
Everyone
are.
was like, John McEnroe, John McEnroe. I'm like, look at her shorts.
No, well,
So who's your date? Anybody we know?
not anybody you know. No, he's a writer. Actually, I'm gonna try and take my manager too, because he's been actually on unemployment for 2 years, so he can manage me. I mean, the poor guy has just.
Maybe you
really
give
been
him
in
a
there for the long
statue?
haul. Now we're starting to make a little bit of money, so he's but he's going to be in there. I mean, if I only get 2 seats, he'll be my date. So, anyway.
And your grandmother will be
My grandmother will be my
hanging on the
folks.
rafters?
She might be. I don't know. No, she won't. She's pretty spunky though.
You should get 2 seats for each nomination.
That's what I say.
Yeah. Do you think women have been slighted by the Grammys in recent years?
Well, certainly. I mean, last year there wasn't even a female rock category, which I couldn't believe it because there were so many greats. there are always so many great female rock artists, and I guess a lot of that is how you categorize music, but there were a lot of great females last year that were overlooked, I thought. And I don't know about the year before. I got to be honest, I don't really keep up with the award shows very much because I think it can be a dangerous thing if you put a lot of weight into awards. The Grammys is a nice award show because I think in a lot of ways people really pay attention to it and it provides awareness, but yeah, I think this year and in other years sometimes they tend to sort of overlook what's really happening in music. Like I thought there were a lot of young, very alternative bands that were kind of overlooked. So.
Your record company told us that you took some time off from touring recently to go into the studio and start work on your next album.
I actually decided to take a month off, and I wound up going in and we recorded like 8 songs. We're almost done with a new record. So eventually I'm going to take some time off one of these days.
So it started out
It started
as a
out to be a vacation after 18 months of touring, but yeah, we went in and I'm working with Bill again, the guy that produced the first record, and I don't know, I think if you're on the road long enough and you get out of the habit of writing, then when you get into the studio, it's like, here, give me that, give me this, roll tape, and that's kind of what we wound up with, was 8 new songs, so.
And is it at all a musical departure from Tuesday Night Music Club?
I think it's more, I don't know, I think it's a little raw and a little harder edged, but it still has a lot of varied influences and stuff. And Bill and I actually this time went in and played most everything, you know, just picking stuff up, and so it's a little bit different, but I think it's a little harder edged.
Any guests? Any Michael Jackson special appearances? Him singing back up for you?
I'm thinking about having Tom Jones. No, I don't know. I don't know yet because we're probably about halfway through it. So,
Okay.
you know, honestly, the way it sort of happens is whoever happens to be at the room when the tape's rolling winds up on it. So, I don't usually get into my phone book and call people.
All right, let me get out of the shot and let me ask you the unplugged ones.
It's weird because when you tour when you tour across the United States, so many towns have turned in their great old theaters. It's such a bummer. But then you come into some places and they've really actually tried to refurbish them, and they're beautiful, like in the late 20s. And it's so inspiring to play in a place that's cool, as opposed to big old dumpy hall, which is what we usually play in.
You ready? Okay. You have speed? How do you feel after you finish that unplugged set?
Kind of nerve-wracked, because TV is so weird. You know, there are stops and starts, and everybody was so quiet and so sort of polite that I kind of wanted to run through the audience or take my clothes off or something. All right, everybody, let's shake it up a little. But yeah, I just sort of look back and think about, gee, was it all right? So.
It is sort of restrained in terms of the atmosphere of the audience because the seats are so close together, and because of the cameras, you can't really stand up.
Seating is a big thing because we're kind of used to having people all move forward or places that are just standing room.
Right.
So seating does kind of suck the life out of people. But it's fun. It's a whole different vibe, though. I think it probably lends itself, unplugged-wise, lends itself to having all the lights on. It's just a totally different vibe than doing a show. So we enjoyed it. We had a fun time.
Did
Do you want to put questions on?
It doesn't really matter, but in terms of the way that you did All I Want to Do, I saw an interview with you. It might have been on MTV, it might have been somewhere else, but you were like, if I have to play that song one more time. I mean, it is very catchy, but I could imagine how it might grate on you after 1,000 times or something.
Yeah.
Is that why you sort of restructured it?
Yeah, and I think people are sort of tired of it. I mean, hey, I am so happy that it got played a lot, and it was the last song on the record I would have thought that would ever have gotten played. I thought when we recorded it was a throwaway, and it would never have occurred to me that they would release that as a single, and it just got played so much. I think people would much more appreciate a new way of hearing it than just to hear it the old the same old way. And for me, any way I can do it that's not the exact same way is much more fun. Okay, I'm Sheryl Crow. I'm still here at the Heart Tour, and now we're on the concourse, and we're heading up to see the Screamin' Cheetah Wheelies, and they're on the Gonzo stage, which is the smaller stage, while the bigger stage is taking a break. We're here in between good food, good clothes, homemade hats, and lots of hippie dancing. Birkenstocks, the whole thing.